Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Blood, Sweat, and Tears presented by the Fantasy Holics Podcast Network. With us, as always, is Castle Black wide receiver one room and Mr. Oviedo. I was trying to think of some cool monologue intro thing to talk about when we enter the show, but man, there was injuries, there was crappy fantasy play, there was Madrid, there was spitting, there was why do we put ourselves through this? Why do we? It was just I had all three of my money league matchups went down to the wire last night. A couple leagues within a couple points. Man, it was a stressful Thursday through Monday night, but wouldn't have it any other way. How'd you guys' weeks go?
That was a great week of football. I mean, I'm bittersweet about the Jamar Chase suspension. I'm happy that my Patriots don't have to face Jamar Chase next week, but also the statement that the Patriots haven't played great teams and have only played a couple good teams and the rest have been bad is going to continue with the fact that we're not playing against Jamar Chase, but it seems pretty well we'll keep winning high scoring game next week. I would think, at least on that extent. But yeah, Jamar Chase suspended. Crazy to think. Some big injuries this week. It was another fun week of football.
Yeah, man, nothing to complain about for me. With my 60-so dynasty leagues, I don't really root for one or two of them, or it's hard for me to root for certain players because I have them in 7 leagues and against them in 7 leagues, and it's just kind of confusing. So I really mainly focus and give a shit about my main one big money league that I've been in for 18 years, and I am 8-2 or 9-2. Yeah, 9-2 after this week. Tied for first. Looking good. Squad's nice. It does have Drake London, so praying that that's only a 1-week thing.
Yeah.
But we shall see, man. It's a rock solid team, and life is good. I'm off of work tomorrow. I got Black Ops 7. I've been grinding on that since it came out on Friday. It's pretty fucking fun.
Hey, Tyler.
What do I got to complain about?
Yeah.
It just felt like outside of the Sean Tucker game, it felt like a lackluster fantasy points week.
Are you disrespecting Josh Allen and his 6 touchdowns? That's what I'm
hearing. Yeah, that was.
Or Travion Henderson with 3 touchdowns to kick us off Thursday night.
Yeah, I was in quite a hole after Thursday night. Thanks, Mike Vrabel and Josh McDaniels. Could you have just continued to not use your best running back for one more week? Hello.
Hey, when Stevenson comes back, he's not going to be used again. So just give it a week or two.
It was a low-scoring week in general. If you just look at your median leagues, the median this week was notably lower than pretty much any other week this season. So there was some boom games, but there was a lot of duds.
Yeah, doing the Boomer Bust article or Studs or Duds yesterday, I literally was going through and I'm like, okay, there are 6 offenses that I just put this team's offense on the dud list just because they just didn't do well. And 3 of those teams won. But it was just, it was a low scoring week overall.
A lot of sites will do this was the best lineup you could have set and this was the worst lineup you could have set. So I crunched some numbers like that in half PPR scoring. I put this team together. I'm like, you know who would love this team? Brian Bruner. So, Brian, what would you think if you went into this week with this team? Lamar Jackson, Ashton Genty, Woody Marks, Jamar Chase, Lad McConkey, near and dear to your heart, Devontae Smith, and DJ Moore, and Kyle Pitts. Would you be satisfied with that lineup?
How could you not be, okay with that going into the week?
I would really like that lineup. That lineup got 32.5 points.
Oof.
Brutal, man.
That entire team got 32.5 points. You know what you should have gone with?
I'm sure this will be fun.
Bryce Young, Kenneth Gainwell, Sean Tucker, Michael Wilson, Christian Watson. Tyrell Shavers, AJ Barner, and Xavier Leggett scored 181.8 fucking points.
181 to 32. If those
Yes.
teams beat each other, that's fucking priceless.
Yes.
I got Barner in a bunch of leagues in my dynasty leagues, and I'm set. I'm happy with him. Got him really cheap. He flew under the radar in a lot of places.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But
crazy.
we'll be back for more this week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Got our first comment. Jordy Nelson is placed on his shit list because he upheld the suspension of Jamar Chase.
Mm. Is Jordy calling the shots for like the player NFLPA or something like that, or the NFL disciplinary office? I didn't know.
Yeah, in either case, that's a big blow for the Bengals, and I'm sure we'll bring it up. But
I mean, I'm sure Jalen Ramsey did something. He might have disrespected his mother, might have extra cheap shot in a scrum or something. Like, he's not totally innocent. Come on.
Ramsey is by no means going to be innocent in this. Even if he was the one who struck him second, he instigated it for sure.
Definitely.
For sure. Awesome. Well, I think we're just going to get into our week review, go into maybe a deeper preview coming into week 12, since we have a little more time potentially this week. We're going to talk about injuries, different fantasy related things as things come up as we go through the scoreboard. So instead of just doing a big giant injury list, because we got a dozen people who probably want to talk about injury wise, we're going to kind of talk about them as we bring up their games, going from there. I'm sorry, I clicked the wrong button. We actually have our second question before we go. Is if Godwin is able to play this next week against the LA Rams,
No.
are you risking it? Are you starting him in hopes? What are you doing with Godwin this next week against the Rams?
My what I would want to know is what his other options would be, because just in a vacuum, I would like to not start Godwin to see if he's healthy, to see what his role is going to be. But if we're talking it's Godwin or, I don't know, very shitty other option, then maybe it is Godwin. So who are we possibly starting him over, if you want to leave that in
the Rams is not a good matchup. That's not the game you would hope Godwin would come back in with, starting that difficult. But it kind of depends a little there.
Yeah, the Rams defense can play. As much as I fucking despise the guy, Jared Verse, because he's like a known Eagles hater. He's from this area too, which is fucked up. And he's like, I can't stand the color green. Fuck the Eagles. He's very good. I feel like every time you're watching the Rams on defense, he's either like getting to the quarterback or almost getting to the quarterback. Like, he's a fucking problem. So not an ideal start, but again, especially, just going over my 60 leagues right leading up till we started recording, I'm putting some shady fuckers into some flex spots, given injuries and bye weeks. So, the Godwin might not be a worse option than whatever else he's dealing with.
So sounds like it is a flex play. It's an option of Godwin if he's healthy, or Woody Marks. So it's the same.
Very disappointing week for Marks, but from a touch perspective, he has moved past Nick Chubb. I think it was 19-3 in the carry department.
Oh yeah.
So with opportunity, shit's going to happen. He's going to get catches. He'll get goal line work potentially. So I would easily start Marks over him.
I'd agree on that. The Bucs are giving up the 6th most points to running back, so I think Marks has a potential bounce back game here, especially at home if they get ahead. Yeah, and we saw that Marks seems to have taken over that backfield. He's someone, if you can buy cheap in Dynasty right now and you have not, you need to go get him. I had someone try and get him off me for a late 3rd this week. I'm like, have you seen Marks? Like,
right.
the going rate. I mean, at least start with like a late second or a mid second. Like you got to pay up for him now in most leagues, but if you can get him, I would definitely lean Marks in that case. At least give Godwin a game back to see what's going on.
Definitely. Yeah, because Godwin, I don't know if he was ever healthy at all, but when he came back briefly, he just wasn't. He wasn't that dude. And he has a very good chemistry with Baker. The healthy games he's played with Baker in the 2 years or whatever they've been together, Godwin's been fantastic. So if he does come back healthy, if they rested him long enough and Godwin's like 100% coming into this game, I'll eat that 1 week of starting Marks over him and then be happy that you have Godwin going forward.
Yeah, Rams defense is tremendous. No way.
Yeah,
I would
the
start Mike Evans again. I mean, and Godwin is like Brian said. I don't think Godwin will ever be the guy that he once was.
Yeah, I mean the Rams are giving up the second least points receivers too. And this usually, with bigger names, you try not to play matchups when you're looking at a guy coming off injury playing the second hardest defense for wide receivers versus Woody Marks, second easiest. That's the way to go. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's tough, recommending a guy coming off of a pretty disappointing week, but volume is king, especially for running backs. So fire up your Woody.
Yeah.
My favorite deputy.
Awesome. So Thursday night, we had an actually good Thursday night game, or a decent one for a little while there. Travion Henderson, great out game. As we talked about, the Jets defense is going to struggle, upgrade Patriots. We talked that I think it was maybe the week before. I know 2 weeks ago we talked about if you wanted Travion Henderson, you needed to buy him then. If you bought then, that was on you. For me, outside of Henderson in this matchup, biggest news is Justin Fields being benched.
He sucks.
I mean, fantasy-wise, he's been doing decently well, but just passing as a passing quarterback, he has done atrocious. And the Jets have decided, let's give Tyrod Taylor a chance. Let's see what happens with him. That to me spells it's the biggest thing. Many people are hoping for the high rushing upside of Justin Fields for fantasy. People were waiting on quarterback. Now he's probably not starting the rest of the year unless Tyrod Taylor gets injured. Or
that's Adonai Mitchell's fault. Hit him in the hands 3 times.
Yeah,
3 times. Dropped them all.
Yeah. So, I mean, that to me is the biggest takeaway of this. Everything is to be expected. We expected Anderson to have a good game. We expected Drake May to have a decent game at least. But seeing Justin Fields being, that was going to happen a few weeks ago, but then Tyrod Taylor got injured, and the Jets went back to that decision. That to me is the takeaway. Hopefully, you're not relying on Fields in any capacity moving forward.
It pains me to say this, but Drake May is incredible. I was doing some deep dives on some deeper stats to bring up this week. What we're witnessing right now with Drake May, it's even better than it looks. If I was doing a startup draft today, I'm going to go redo my dynasty rankings. I would take Drake May second after Josh Allen. What Drake May's doing is off the charts incredible. And he's been sacked 36 times. It's second most in the NFL. He's been pressured 160 times, which is second most. He's doing all of this under a tremendous amount of pressure. What Drake May is doing with just Stephon Diggs and a revolving door of receivers is spectacular. If you could somehow buy May now, and I'll drop a couple more stats in. Talk amongst yourselves. It's from where he was last year. I wasn't totally sold on May. I'm third overall pick. He can't beat out Jacoby Brissett. May is like rocket ship emoji. He will. It's impressive stuff.
Yeah, he's been fantastic. I think we had definitely dove into him being overrated in the preseason because he was I think it was maybe QB 6, 7, 8, somewhere in that, coming off the board in like startup drafts in the offseason. And I'm quite sure all three of us thought that was crazy. And, he's more than proved that he's worthy of that and more. So hard to say anything bad about him. The speculation of the Patriots have a soft schedule, Zach brought that up earlier.
Yeah.
You play who's in front of you. We talk about it all the time. You play the matchups. He shouldn't be punished because he has an easier schedule in front of him, but he's doing it almost all the games have been great. He did have the one dud game when the Patriots had a good game, just kind of fluky there, but I don't think there's any buying Drake May. Nobody that has Drake May is looking to sell him.
There might be a doubter. There might be a Patriot hater in your league.
But he's young as hell too. So even if he's on a young rebuilding team, they don't want to sell him. So I think kind of the ship has sailed. With how many leagues I have, I certainly have some May shares. He's not one of my higher rostered quarterbacks, but I certainly have shares of him, and I have zero intentions of selling any of them.
Yeah. Here's another, for what it's worth, Drake May stat. Drake May has 33 rushes at over 15 miles per hour. That is fourth most in the NFL. Jahmyr Gibbs has 30.
Impressive.
Drake May is fast.
Yeah.
Fast for a big guy. Fast for a QB.
We just redid our dynasty rankings on the Fantasy Holics. I put Drake May as my quarterback 9 and Bo Nix as my quarterback 8. So I still have Drake May a little lower for the extent of I want to see this for multiple years. Bo Nix, he has done this second year and he's doing it great. He's going into his bye week, but he's still a top 10 quarterback right now, scoring 2 years in a row. Drake May, the Patriots meant to sit him last year and needed to develop him. He started going, but we saw that with Jaden Daniels recently. We saw that with Stroud recently, that they had a great rookie year, a great first year. This is May's pseudo rookie year. He played half last year, but he didn't look amazing last year. He had a couple glimpses, but we saw Jaden Daniels, Stroud have a great year, and then all of a sudden they're going second, third in startup. It happened to both quarterbacks, and now all of a sudden they're outside the top 10, or outside the top 5. They're falling down. Granted, Daniels is from injury, but Stroud really struggled last year. Now he's struggling with injury. I want to see consistency, especially with the fact that the Patriots' schedule has been pretty easy. I think they faced 3 teams above 500 so far this season. That I'm worried that his stats are a little padded just because of their schedule, and that once teams get better tape on him, that he'll taper off some. So I could be not putting him as high just because of recency bias of we've seen other young quarterbacks jump to the top of our lists and then just falter. That I'm still taking Bo Nix over Drake May right now, just because of that consistency. Also because of the weapons that Bo Nix has. Like I love my Patriots. I think the Broncos, at least receiving weapons, are a little better right now. Could change soon, but I have Bo Nix, Drake May, Caleb Williams back to back in my dynasty rankings right now. Actually, Jane Daniels, all of them are 7 to 10 right now in my dynasty rankings because I have hope for them all, but I'm trying not to jump on that May bandwagon because of those things I mentioned. Not just yet.
Just pulling up some numbers while you were talking about that. I default to my Fantasy Holics 3 league because it's very normal scoring. It's just full PPR, 6-point passing touchdowns, nothing else odd going on. So it's a good gauge of a regular fantasy league. And I'm looking at points per game since some people have had their buys, some people haven't. Drake May right now is sitting at 24.4 points per game. That's fifth in overall points per game for the season. Bo Nix is down at 13 at this point, but he has 22 points a game. So we're talking less than 2.5 points per game difference. That
Wow,
certainly means something in fantasy. 2.5 points per game, it's a thing, but they're not that far apart. So, and then just for reference, the quarterbacks that show up between Drake May and Bo Nix in this year's points per game, 6 is Dak Prescott, 7 is Brock Purdy, which you could almost put an asterisk on that because he's played so little this year.
Yep.
Jalen Hurts is at 8, Justin Herbert is at 9, Danny Dimes is at 10, Caleb Williams is at 11, and Jared Goff, even after that fucking stinker in Philly, is at 12. And then there you have Bo Nix. And again, 24.4 for May at QB5 and 22 on the dot for Nix all the way down to QB13. So these quarterbacks, and right behind him, so Baker Mayfield's actually below him. Jaden Daniels in points per game is 15th after Baker. Jackson Dart's at 16. Jordan Love's at 17. We have such a clusterfuck between, I mean, shit, you could start at May. May at 5, Dak, these guys that are, all these guys that I'm just naming, Herbert, Jalen Hurts even. The top scores this year are Allen, Mahomes, Stafford, Lamar are 1, 2, 3, 4 in points per game. Yeah. After you get past like Josh Allen and Lamar and Mahomes, you got a big old clusterfuck. And if you could just have 2 of those guys in a super flex league, you're in pretty good shape.
And if anything, we talked about this in the offseason that there was such depth at quarterback in your redraft leagues. Wait on those quarterbacks. And that's showing, like, sure, Bo Nix is quarterback 13, but he's only 2.5 games behind quarterback 5. Like, give a little context there of that 2.5 points means something, but you wouldn't want to draft someone 6-7 rounds higher just for 2.5 points a game. So that's if anything to speak to that depth. To me, the surprising one is Stafford. Out of all the ones we were fading Mahomes, but you knew he had a chance. But Stafford, especially with a 6-point touchdown, Stafford is a passing touchdown machine this year, which is phenomenal to watch. It is just so fun to see this older player who can read defenses just dissecting them. Love seeing that.
Yes, sir. Yeah, Josh Allen kind of juiced the shit out of his average this week. So he's at 29. So he's at 29 points per game. But if we just kind of Azer stat him away, pretend he didn't just have 7,000 points this week, and you say Patrick Mahomes is number 2 right now, he's at 26.2 points a game. You can scroll all the way down to quarterback 19 and 20, which are Darnold and Aaron Rodgers, and they're both at 19.1 and 19 points a game. So it's just, yeah, man, if you just wait on quarterback in your super flex startups, give 2 of these guys, maybe a third, if one of them's like older, more injury prone, and you can just stack up your Amon-Ra St. Browns and stud skill players, Jonathan Taylors, and these dudes, Rashee Rices, that are just smashing. That a bunch of them and 2 20, 21 point a game quarterbacks, those teams are probably doing better than the teams that spent up and traded away middling picks to have 2, top tier quarterbacks.
Yeah. Great point.
Yeah, man. So all that to say the Thursday night football game was pretty good.
Yeah.
No significant injuries or anything there, just the benching of Justin Fields, which we touched on a little bit already. So
yeah, we'll hit
wheels up for that easy schedule.
Yeah. Commanders Dolphins game. Devon Achane
in España.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Overseas. I forgot about that.
Those teams were begging for a tie so hard. They just wanted to tie and get the hell out of there or go have some good paella or something.
Another overtime overseas game.
Yeah. It was pretty boring. I didn't get to watch all of it. I had to work Sunday, so I had that game on like while I was getting ready for work, and then the
Yeah.
half an hour before my shop opened, I had it on the iPad and then couldn't pay any attention once I was actually working. So I know Achan had a. He just looks like he's shot out of a fucking cannon every time
Yeah.
he gets the ball, unless you get contact on him like in the backfield or at the line of scrimmage. Man, that little motherfucker can fly, and he's, knock on wood, he's been healthy and just getting it done with big snap shares, big touch rates. And what do you have this week? He had 21 for a $120, and then he also had 5 catches for 45 yards.
And that's what a lot of people expected that. Sorry.
Yeah, without scoring a touchdown, he was running back 6 on the week.
Really?
Yeah, without a touchdown.
Yeah, I liked I didn't love Achan. I always thought he was like maybe 7th to 10th best runner in the league. No, I'm totally wrong. He's awesome. He has 50 rushes of 15 miles an hour or more. That is number 1 in the NFL. Third place is Kenneth Walker with 40. He is, like Brian said, shot out of a cannon. He runs like every rush is his last run. He's awesome. I wish I had more shares of him.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people who loved A-Chain kept saying. It was expecting this, and I was like you, I was lowering him too. A lot of mine was because of his build, his injury concerns, a smaller running back, but he's stayed healthy and proven anyone who has stock in him all the difference in the world.
I'm going to sprinkle in like little stats throughout the night because I love pro.nfl.com. Achan is first in rushes of 10 plus yards at 15 miles an hour, first in rushes of 15 miles per hour or more, and 4th in rushes of 20 miles per hour or more. He is fast. You're not catching him. Like Chris Berman used to say, they are not gonna get it.
Whoop! That stupid fucking Chris Berman. What a legend. That guy's he's been in my childhood. I feel like Chris Berman's been around since like ESPN's been around.
He was old when we were kids.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It's pretty wild.
I was watching this Commanders-Dolphins game, and in the Fantasyholics group chat, we were talking like Zach Ertz, Marcus Mariota, Chris Moore, Chase Edmonds, Deebo Samuel. Is this the oldest team in the NFL? And then Josh Johnson came in for a series. Like, yeah, it's the oldest team in the NFL, period. Maybe the oldest team in the NFL ever.
It might be.
Oh.
Pretty wild.
Yeah, pretty old.
But fantasy implication-wise, Chris Rodriguez has clearly taken over that role from Bill.
Yeah.
Bill sucks.
And Rodriguez looks good. I don't really check his actual stat line, but he had a fucking nice game. He had a very good yards per carry and got the large majority of the work. So he's certainly a dude he's worth an ad. I mean, he might be out there on waivers, and he probably is out there on waivers in your normal redraft leagues. And Bill's probably rostered in a crazy amount of leagues still, just based on all the preseason hype and everything. So yeah, check out Chris Rodriguez. It's kind of a free ad if you're a team that's a little weak at running back.
Yep, Jaden Daniels doesn't need surgery. He's throwing, apparently, per the broadcast, and in a totally lost season where he doesn't need to be playing. Yeah, that's a very Commanders thing to do, to bring Jaden Daniels back and put him out there in the line of fire. So yeah, if you have Jaden Daniels on your roster and you're in a playoff push, be ready to have that decision of, do I start Jaden Daniels with your season on the line?
Rodriguez was 15 carries for 79 yards, so certainly nothing league winning or week winning there, but that's 5.27 per clip, and obviously the majority of the carries there, they trust him. The coaching staff likes him. So he's no superstar, but he's a relevant piece in fantasy until further notice.
Yeah, sounds good. Diving into Panthers Falcons, our first set of injury news with Penix going to IR after this game and London being on the injury reports. And yeah, I think that's the only injuries. I thought I saw something about Dowdle maybe being questionable, but they're going into their bye week. So bye weeks in a few weeks. So, but it was a very close, very good game, high scoring. I was expecting hopefully a little more out of Dowdle, but we saw Bryce Young throw for over 400 yards, that he has that upside potential. Now, let's see if you can find that consistency. But Tetaroa McMillan is starting to show us he has that wide receiver 2 upside where he's finally getting those touchdown catches. He's getting more yards, more receptions. He definitely won some games this week with how he did. Maybe not the yards, but the receptions and the touchdowns he's starting to get there. His yard total is still a little lower than one would hope, but he's getting there.
I had some sources tell me that he actually watched the podcast last week, heard me call him Floor McMillan, and was like, fuck that guy from Fantasy Holics. Let me show you what I can do here. Yeah, what a monster game. I believe in my league of record, he was in my flex spot, luckily, and I believe he got me 33 point something, 33.2 or something. It was a monster game. It was fucking by far his best game of his career. So nice to see. Nice to see that Bryce Young could do that in a scenario. The Falcons defense is so odd. You can look at their game log, and they have shut down some really good offenses and let teams like the Panthers just go ballistic on them. So it's almost impossible to say what you're getting. Like if you have offensive players going up against the Falcons, maybe they're going to do good, maybe they won't. So I try to look at it as neutral. I'm just saying, okay, a player I like is playing the Falcons. I'm going to start him. I'm not going to be excited or deterred.
Yeah, the Falcons are still reeling from their trip to Germany and getting beaten by Danny Dimes and Jonathan Taylor. Bryce Young missed a significant portion of that game. He was out with like an elbow injury or a concussion. Dalton was in for a little while, and Bryce Young still put up the numbers that he did. That's kind of impressive. Like, why don't you do that all the time, Carolina? Carolina they're pretty legit. Shout out to Jumbo on the Fantasy Holics page. He's a big Panthers fan, and I'm sure he's loving it.
Yeah, I didn't know that Young went out for too long.
He was out for a bit.
I just know he's the only one who recorded a pass attempt for the Panthers. So if he was out for a bit, they just kind of ran it with Dowdle a little, or were on defense, thankfully. But yeah, 45 passing attempts, 448 yards, 3 touchdowns. Their passing attack looked phenomenal. And I'm not trusting Xavier Legette. Yeah, he got 83 yards and a touchdown. He had the points, but fantasy-wise, I'm not trusting him in my starting lineup yet. I want to see more consistency from him, and I don't expect that consistency. Tetaroa McMillan, I think, is hitting that wide receiver 2 status pretty soon if he's not already there, just with what he's doing. And then on the Falcons side, maybe upgrade Mooney a little with London being out, but I expect just Bijan Robinson to be fed the ball both in the air and on the ground so much with London out that, especially with, probably not trusting Kirk Cousins too much, that I think Bijan is now the only person you really care about on the Falcons until London's back, which might be next week, but might be 2 or 3 weeks depending on how he recovers the injury.
I would. It's bad news for London, Pitts, Mooney. Kirk Cousins looked absolutely horrible. I mean, he couldn't throw the ball 10 yards. I'm like full on panic mode if I have any Falcons receiver. If you have Bijan might run the ball 40 times a game. Bijan could get 40 carries, and Tyler Algier might get 30 carries a game. It was putrid. It was really bad.
I was going to bring up not Mooney, I really want no parts of. It seems that he just doesn't really have. I don't know if he has been dealing with injury. I'm not sure what it is. Maybe he doesn't fit into their scheme there. We only have the one dog shit appearance from Cousins. Hopefully he's a little healthier, a little bit more integrated. Maybe they just come up with a better game plan to suit his abilities. But yeah, Algier, I would say, gets the biggest bump out of any of these players because yes, they're certainly going to give Bijan plenty of work, but we've seen all year that they're going to give Algier plenty of work too. There's games where Bijan's cooking and they still put Algier in for like 2 series in a row and give him a ton of touches. So he's a dude that he's not on waivers anywhere, but he's somebody that you could potentially buy, especially if he's not rostered by the guy that has Bijan. You could probably get him fairly cheap, and he could be a sneaky RB depth piece for you, or even a flex option if they're really going to just be that run heavy. So I do like Algier here. It does suck for Drake London, man. So he was my little sneaky dark horse pick to potentially finish as wide receiver 1 after yet another big game here. I'm looking at the points per game stats here. He's wide receiver 3 on the year on points per game at this point in full PPR. He is sitting at 19.7 points per game. The only 2 players in front of him are Puka and JSN. And JSN is only 2.1 points per game higher, and Puka is less than 2 points per game higher. So that's how fucking awesome London's been after he had pretty bad he had a complete dud week 1. I'm going to check his game log. But yeah, he's been on fire. So it's fucking terrible to see Penix go down. I'm just praying that that London's injury isn't super severe and that they figure out something with Cousins, even if it's just shorter, quicker passes or something. He's all they got now, so they're gonna have to figure something out. So that's all I'm hoping for.
Yeah, that's a good point. I was thinking more passing attack, but yeah, if Algier might be the one to keep a better eye out on. Then we had the big game of the week with Josh Allen having 3 passing and 3 rushing touchdowns, putting up a massive game for you, 300 plus passing yards on top of that. I mean, it just looks like the game looked like it was more of a blowout than just the 12-point differential that it was, just with how good Josh Allen looked. I mean, they didn't even have a receiver over 100 yards. It was well spread out for everyone. James Cook scored you well. Terrell Shavers did something like Sean Tucker was the only one on the Bucs that did anything. Yeah, it was a very, very interesting game to see. Very weird to see. Just these kind of, I don't want to say no names, but your Tucker, your Terrell Shavers to be ones that did really well when you have all the other options. Shakir got 1 reception for -3 yards. Like that's not what you were expecting.
Moving on. So the Bills, Shakir gets 1 catch for less yards than I had on Sunday. Keon Coleman was a healthy scratch, and Dalton Kincaid was injured. They still got 44 points against the Bucs. Like, can they do anything wrong? I don't know.
Yeah, and
let's just have Keon Coleman a healthy scratch the rest of the way. Like, whoops.
Yeah, in non PPR leagues, I'd like to congratulate myself on having more points than Khalil Shakir this week. I finished with a 0, and he finished with less than that. So yeah, that was, again, I worked on Sunday and it was crazy fucking busy. I do keep my iPad or my tablet out on the sales floor, but if it's crazy busy, I obviously can't just sit there and watch football. So I got to see next to nothing or even check my phone a bunch. When I saw that final, I said, oh shit, this must have been a fantasy bonanza. And like you said, Patrick, it was just, what the fuck? Where did all these points just evaporate into? It was obviously Sean Tucker had the big game. James Cook was saved in the receiving game with a receiving touchdown, but what the actual fuck? Just duds all over the place. And Buka, Shakir, we just mentioned, tight ends. Kate Otten did nothing. Like just
Gabe Davis had 40 yards. Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis back from the dead. Just
UCF.
what a weird fucking thing, man. Just
Yeah.
so kind of like we've been doing the last couple of weeks. Is there anything you guys really take away from this game or any of these fantasy players that is different? The one that I'll bring up is that unfortunately, I do sadly think that this was just the Sean Tucker game. He's there. Bucky's already getting projected points. He was practicing last week. He's probably back. They seem to want to give Rashad White a lot of work, even if Sean Tucker is looking better and cooking. So unfortunately, all the people that picked up Tucker, hopefully you used him and got those points this week, which I did in some leagues. But he's honestly a guy that in my couple redraft leagues that I do have him in, he's one of my cut candidates to pick up guys like Kenny Gainwell or Emmanuel Wilson or whoever I need. So I would not be relying on Sean Tucker much going forward. I'd only really roster him if you have the bench space to do it.
Yeah, I'll add my 2 cents. I'm just going to agree with that. Sean Tucker had a big game last year, then put up less than 2 points the game after last year, and then did nothing. Don't think you can just start streaming him now. I wait, see what happens, especially with Bucky Irving coming back. That's my only thought fantasy wise. Everything else is staying with the course between these two teams.
I'll go out on a ledge. We could timestamp this 42-20. I think Tucker's the best running back on the Bucs roster. He was a second or third round talent going into the draft. He had the heart murmur. His draft stock fell. He was an undrafted free agent. Bucky was only a third or fourth round pick. Bucky's missed like 5 or 6 weeks. I don't know why he wasn't on IR. Rashad White is good-ish. He does have a RB4 campaign on his record. I think Tucker's flame me all you want if I'm completely wrong. I've been completely wrong before. I think Sean Tucker's the best running back on the roster. And if Irving continues to miss time, I think Tucker takes the starting job from Rashad White in due time.
Bucky was a day 3 pick, if I'm not mistaken. He was a 4th round pick.
He doesn't have that much draft capital. He's
right.
Just kind of just a guy that had a really, really, really good season. Was Irving a fluke?
I don't think he was a fluke. I think he had too many big games and looked very, very solid enough last year that I don't think it was a flash, like a 1 or 2 game thing. He really was a league winner for the whole back half of last year. But he definitely has a lot working against him. He's now showing that he's injury prone. He has a very short career so far, and this year's been a complete wash for him. I would say keep an eye out as much as you can find on the Bucs injury reports this week, because he was practicing last week, got ruled out again Sunday, but he's going to be practicing this week. I said that all the apps are giving him projections and giving Tucker and White very little, so they're at least assuming at this point that he's going to play. But let's see what happens. I guess I worded a little bit wrong. I'm not eager to cut Sean Tucker on my redraft teams. If I can swing having him on the bench, or if I have Bucky Irving in the IR, and certainly want to keep him in those scenarios, but you got to make these tough decisions when you only have 5-6 spots in redraft. And we saw this again. You brought it up last year. He had this amazing smash, 40-something point game, and the Bucs were like, "Hey, thanks for your service, and you might not even dress next week." It was just, they operate like that. So, man, good for Sean Tucker. I think if anything, he's giving himself a second contract somewhere, whether it's with the Bucs or some other team. With what he's put on tape in tiny work, I don't have the advanced metrics or the advanced stats in front of me, but his fantasy points per touch have to be up there astronomical with the little bit he's actually gotten work in this league and what he's done with that work. It's got to be like fucking Eric Dickerson, Bo Jackson, Barry Sanders level. Like, no exaggeration. It has to be that high when it comes to the fantasy production he's gotten from his little work.
Yeah. Before we move on, we have a start sit question real quick. With Jamar Chase suspended, are you playing Christian Watson or Boutte if he's healthy? Boutte for the Patriots against the Bengals, or Watson at home versus the Vikings? Yeah. Christian Watson or Boutte? What are you thinking?
For me, I hate just saying, Christian Watson, because he just had 2 touchdowns. Because the Packers are very much a spread the ball around offense, and so are the Patriots, though. So Boutte has had some nice games. He's also had some disappearing acts. I would just lean Christian Watson here because he does seem to be more involved as he's gotten healthier, and the tie break for me would also be the Josh Jacobs injury. I can't imagine they don't lean at least a little bit more on the passing game if their all-pro running back is not on the field. So yeah, give me Christian Watson here.
Yeah, I agree. The Boutte has been awesome, and then I don't know if it's game plan, if it's game script. He's inexplicably absent the next week.
Now, he's playing the Bengals defense, so he has that going. But my worry is if he doesn't get points early, that the Patriots will get up on the Bengals and just start running it, and then he won't get the opportunities to do much after that. So, whereas I think the Packers could be up 21 points and they're still going to throw it deep to Watson because they just want to blow out the Vikings in that divisional game. So I hate to say don't start the person against the Bengals, but I lean a little Christian Watson, but can't blame me either way. Moving on, then we got Texans at Titans. Texans just barely scratched by, got the win. You have Davis Mills, who's looking to be a good replacement for Stroud. Another injury. Stroud is out for the week already. Already said is not playing due to concussion. So it's going to be Davis Mills another week, who has been a good replacement.
He's not that bad.
Who needs someone.
Really?
Yeah, he's doing well. We talked about this briefly earlier. Woody Marks seems to have taken over the lead back, 18 carries to 3 between him and Chubb. So keep an eye on him moving forward. That to me is a great thing. A main part of this for fantasy is Woody Marks expect bigger things to come from him. For me, Jaden Higgins is finally starting to get some volume and some yardage that I'm ecstatic to see. Part of it is, Mills is actually being able to get him the ball. On the flip side, Calvin Ridley season-ending injury. I hate to say it because he's been such a great wide receiver. As soon as I heard that, I thought he's probably going to retire. Just with the injury it is, how much he's going to take to get back. He could come back, but just the injury itself, I wonder if we saw Ridley in his last game.
He also got himself and his family a real nice chunk of guaranteed money from those Tennessee Titans when he signed that contract 2 seasons ago. So unless he really hits the DraftKings account hard with it, he's probably set for life and does not need to play football anymore.
Yeah. Code word holics.
Great.
Otherwise, Cam Ward is starting to do some things a little better. Granted, he's still running for his life, and one of his main wide receivers is out for the year now. Now he's got to rely on Chig, Shamir.
Monster Chig game coming this week.
Yeah, so the Titans can smash O-line and wide receivers next year. I think they'll Cam Ward will expect more out of him. But yeah, keep an eye on Woody Marks and Davis Mills for streaming options, especially in Superflex.
And as long as it's been Davis Mills, Nico has been wonderful. After a slower start to the season, Nico, as someone who has him in my most important league, I can tell you it's been a pleasure starting him consistently with no worries. So good old long neck Davis Mills, money for Nico Collins. And shit, if the Texans keep winning and looking good with Davis Mills, who's to say they don't just say, hey, CJ Stroud, maybe just sit out a little bit longer, get a little healthier.
Yeah.
Things are looking good here. They're in, I believe, actually, I don't want to just speak without checking, but are they in a position where they could secure a wild card spot? I know that the Colts obviously have a notably better record and are looking to win the division, but I'm not sure if the Texans are even in a scenario where they could get into the wild card. But if they're winning, man, shit, maybe it's Davis Mills for a while longer.
Texans are 5-5, but they're
Yeah,
they're
right
the 8
there.
seed.
Okay.
They're ahead of the Chiefs in the playoff hunt right now because of the tiebreaker, which is crazy to think.
A lot of teams are ahead of the Chiefs right now, man. Fucking wild.
Rodgers not going to let that happen. Come on, man.
There's a chance for the Texans, but I mean, you're looking at the Chiefs and Ravens being behind them. That you have a hard time thinking that those two won't just jump over the Texans soon. So,
God damn. Yeah. Look at his game log. Davis Mills, I know he had the big game last week. Davis Mills was the fucking quarterback 1 last week.
Yep.
Not yesterday or not Sunday, but week 10, he was the fucking quarterback. And then he was the quarterback 10 this week. So, yeah, man, keep it going.
Last week was frantic comeback mode. They were down 29-10 in the fourth versus Jacksonville and won.
They sure did.
By like 10 points. Like,
yeah. Pull the Bo Nix.
Yep. Absolutely. So we moving on to the Bears Vikings. This game was overall very disappointing for fantasy.
Yes.
There was not much at all in the way of big stat lines or people helping you for fantasy.
Do I need to do a JJ McCarthy piece or just save it?
If you have anything you want to talk about with McCarthy, feel free, but
you can see how bad he looked.
I'm fucking bad, yeah.
I'm this close. I want to give him like another week or two, but I think he sucks. I think he's terrible. There's a saying like if you had about bad luck, if you didn't have bad luck, you'd have no luck at all. I think he's close. His interceptions are just like they're so close. They're right on the receiver's hands. It's a bad bounce. The passes are close. I can't write him off yet, but he's not looking very good. I mean, they'll be scrolling the stats across the screen the fourth quarter, and like McCarthy's 10 of 19 for 75 yards in the fourth quarter. I'm like, that's not good. But it feels like he's right there. It's
tough. It's tough because you can't say it's his weapons because you got Addison, you got Jefferson, you got Hawkinson, even Aaron Jones is looking good. Jordan Mason, it's not that, but he's still having these interceptions. He's, unless these wide receivers are attending Kadarius Toney camp and are just, letting it slip through their hands and go to the defenders. I mean, he didn't look great. Granted, Bears fans were worried because last time going into the fourth quarter, he all of a sudden got 3 or 4 touchdowns and looked like Patrick Mahomes. And he did have a good drive to start the fourth quarter, but he looked good on one drive. Watching the entire game, that was it. But on the flip side, both the Bears and Vikings offense made it on the dud list this week because no one looked good.
I don't know if it was Brady or I don't know who the color guy, Greg Olson or somebody. He put it pretty well. He said McCarthy throws the ball 100 miles an hour when he needs to throw it 20, and he throws it 20 miles an hour when he needs to throw it 100 miles an hour. So if he could get that figured out, he's not Anthony Richardson bad. I'll say that. But I'm really retracting all of my McCarthy love. He's not good. Especially when Carson Wentz comes in like off the street and throws for 350 yards in the game in the same offense, and not good, not looking good.
He's not Anthony Richardson bad. He's one of my favorite new fucking measuring sticks for football. So we're gonna hang on to that.
Yeah, that's setting the bar so high here, so high.
a snake with a top hat could get under that bar.
I like it.
Oh shit. Going forward though with the Bears and the Vikings, it's pretty fucking hard to not put Swift in your lineup, to put Caleb in your lineup unless you have a much better option. You're certainly starting Caleb in Superflex. The Vikings, you're not benching Jefferson. You're probably not benching Addison. Hawkinson is sittable. There's streaming options. I prefer to Hawkinson, but
for sure.
Again, walking away from before this game, I'm really viewing much different. My poor DJ Moore continues to just suffer and not be involved. So he's a dude that I've been benching
passes now too.
Yeah, it's fucked.
He had a really good catch though. He had one, it like hit his hands and then it went down to his knees and it like rolled to his ankles and he just like held it in his ankles and he had it.
And then the ball hits his number 2 and bounces off.
And so the other day I went on to the South Harmon lab tool. I hadn't been on for a while. I check it a lot for other things, but you can look at your own entire sleeper portfolio and it'll show you your most rostered players at each position. So I did that just to see where I'm at because you make a lot of trades and waiver ad moves here and there especially during the season. So I had to take a look, and DJ Moore is officially my most rostered wide receiver, and it's kind of by like a little bit of a wide margin. Let me just find the screenshot that I took. But it just sucks, man. DJ Moore is really fucking good, and he is just being wasted into nothing in this scenario. I have 16 shares of DJ Moore across my 62 fantasy league. So the most highest rostered wide receiver that I have, who is very talented and has been a top 10 seasonal receiver before, is fucking useless right now, and you can't even put him into a flex spot and feel comfortable about it.
I'm wondering more and more people at the beginning of the year saying DJ Moore could be traded. DJ Moore should be traded.
Should have fucking traded him.
Well, I want this offseason, you have so many teams that would want a wide receiver, especially tossing him, Patriots, Giants, Jets, so many teams that would love him. I have a hard time thinking that the Bears are not going to entertain trades for DJ Moore, especially Luther Burden's starting to look a little better. He's being integrated more. Even Zacchaeus is in the slot with Burden's looking great. Odunze is getting those targets. You can afford to move more, especially if you want. They need some help on the defensive side now. That if you can move more and get there, you have Loveland coming up. Loveland is doing some amazing things for the Bears now that he's back from injury. He had some injury problems to start the year. Trade more, get some defensive help, get some picks. I could see that happening more and more.
He's young enough that he could certainly go have a couple rock solid years for a different organization somewhere. And with how many shares I have, I certainly fucking hope so.
Yep. The only thing I want to double check, and I mentioned briefly, is Luther Burden is being integrated more and more into the Bears offense. You're seeing him getting some targets. You're seeing him run more routes. So for those who had shares of him to start the year, going from there, he's, the last 2 games he jumped up to 44 and 49% snap share from his previous high of 29%. So he's starting to be integrated a little more and more. So keep an eye out on him. Obviously, you're not going to be able to buy him low anywhere because people who drafted him probably in the early second in dynasty leagues, they're not going to sell him. But I mean, he's doing decently well so far. So just keep an eye out on him.
Caleb Williams just needs to take the time he's given and not panic and run for his life every single snap. Caleb Williams has the most time to throw in the NFL by a colossal margin. He has 3.29 seconds to throw. Third is Jalen Hurts at 3 seconds flat. Guess who's last by a colossal margin in completion percentage over expected? Caleb Williams, negative 7.5%. So he has a ton of time to throw and does jack shit with it. Negative 7.5% completion percentage over expected. Like, given the time that you have and the play and the openness of the receivers and the play that should be made, Williams is doing making the worst possible decision with the time he has. And
is that time to throw, does that include his scramble time? Because it very well could include his scramble time, which would make sense because a lot of times after 2 seconds, his read, his check down isn't there. He's forced to scramble, and his throws look pretty good on the scramble, to be honest. He's keeping his eyes downfield a lot of the times, but I'd be interested to know if that includes his scramble time, because if it isn't, that's huge. But if it does, that's a testament to how well he can scramble, which I would say that's a good thing for him, then not a negative.
Brian questioned the timer of it was you or Brian asked last week, but in on the other end of the spectrum in completion percentage over expected, Caleb Williams is negative 7.5%. The league leaders are Sam Darnold at 8.8% positive, Drake May 8.6% in the positive, and Daniel Jones. Caleb Williams is 10% behind the league leader in plays that should be made given the time he had, the route running. Damn, just take what you're given and hit DJ Moore. Come on.
It'd be nice.
Awesome.
All right, we got Packers Giants. The Jameis Winston experience was not what we hoped. We hoped to be a lot of fuck it and chuck it, but he had no touchdowns, 1 pick. He didn't have Slayton, so he was not that Slayton's some huge factor, but he's something to throw to. So the Josh Jacobs injury, clearly the biggest fantasy story from this game. We don't know much yet. Week to week, Emmanuel Wilson's getting the projections and he's the hot pickup of the week for most redraft leagues and if he's available in any dynasty leagues. But just something to keep an eye on. I'd assume Jacobs is out at least this week, maybe longer. As we were saying before with the question about Christian Watson, I would say that would just be a slight boost to the, Dobbs and Watsons and potentially even Musgraves of the world if they're going to throw the ball a little bit more. But the Packers like running the ball. I'd assume they still give Wilson a lot of work. And Jordan Love had a little bit better of a game. He had a couple real duds in a row. He didn't have some smash week, but as someone that rosters him plenty of places, I didn't look at my box scores this week and go, oh, fuck Jordan Love again. It was, he had 20, 21, somewhere in that ballpark, so he didn't just completely fuck you like he did for a few games recently. But for the Giants, not much to take away. Tyrone Tracy looked good. He had a nice yards per carry, got a lot of the carries, but Devin Singletary ended up getting 2 rushing touchdowns, so hard to start one of those guys, but both of them are startable in a pinch, in a flex, or if you need. Both guys that should be rostered since their Scatabo is not walking back through that door. Hopefully we get Jackson Dart back. He's always fun and exciting for fantasy.
He's not as fun as exciting as Jameis, though.
he did a lot fucking better than Jameis. Jameis, he's as much fun as Jameis Winston's pressers are and his interviews. It wasn't fun on the field this week.
No, it was
Big
one of those
old-
bad games.
He was fun to pick up and throw in your super flex spot, but didn't really pay off.
If you're in a extremely deep league or you lost Jamar Chase or something, injuries. Isaiah Hodgins. I've always been a big Isaiah Hodgins guy. He was really good back in the Daniel Jones Saquon era. Mike Kafka was on the staff at that time. Hodgins is back. No Malik Neighbors. Slayton out probably helped it. Deep leagues. I added Hodgins everywhere I could. He's good and he's adequate. He's good enough.
Yeah. For me, I keep bringing him up. I try and focus on first round wide receivers just because of the draft capital team put in. Matthew Golden again had less than 4 points. He's done nothing. Now he only played 35% of snaps, so I wonder if he's still having some injury problems because he had that injury against Carolina. He was out last week versus Philly. I wonder if that's, he had limited snaps, but I mean, at this point, he has 2, 4, 5 games under 5 points, 1 game under, his highest in PPR is 13.2 points. He doesn't have a touchdown on the season. Like I start to, anyone who has dynasty shares should really start to be worrying that what was expected out of him is just not happening.
I know what he needs. I know it will fix everything. Guardian cap. Guardian.
That big old helmet.
Love can see him.
He's like the only guy that doesn't have a guardian cap on the Packers receiver core.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Just you can't start him anywhere. If someone's offering you a second for him in Dynasty, especially a mid-second, I'd be smash accepting that right now. Like, I hate to say, I hate to have such a snap judgment, but over 10 games, I can't even point to too much to say there's hope for him. This is kind of what we expected. A lot of bust with some boom, and even the boom hasn't been quite there because he doesn't, with the speed, people are expecting 40-yard touchdowns, and he doesn't have that yet.
The great JJ Zacharyson once said, like, if you're a high draft pick in a situation with like not a lot of competition and you still don't produce, that's a warning sign. Like, Jaden Reed's been out for a while. Jaden Reed might not even be good. Christian Watson was coming back from injury. Like, literally, the Packers had Romeo Doubs and Dontavian Wicks, and even Golden's a rookie. I said last week, I'm guilty of expecting too much from rookies too quick. It's not a good look. Golden had like day one starter opportunity, and he's done almost nothing. I'm panicked.
Yeah, I can't really add much to that other than Tucker Kraft has been their best weapon. He's out.
Yeah.
And Jaden Reed, who's, when he's healthy, is one of their main passing options. He's out. Christian Watson, like you said, he's coming back from injury, and Golden has no involvement in the offense.
Mm-hmm.
That shows you what they're seeing from him in practice, that he's not picking up the playbook or he's just not good enough. But I don't think we have to bash Matthew Golden anymore. We could probably move on, but
he's like a nice dude.
He's clearly not what they hoped he was, at least yet.
I hate to keep bringing up bad things about him, but again, first round wide receivers need to get the scrutiny, need to have that, and that's, I mean, with how good the Packers are doing. So, but want to move on to Bengals Steelers divisional game.
Ooh, the shine came off of Joe Flacco in this one.
Yes. Oh yeah, Joe Flacco didn't look great.
If you started the Steelers defense this week, it worked out wonderfully.
Yes. Chase Brown, as we called it, is having a great back half of the season. 99 rushing yards, 63 receiving yards. Chase did nothing. T. Higgins was the one you wanted. Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell's looking to be a great replacement for Warren. Warren got injured, I believe.
He said he could have come back in the game. I don't know. You can't just take the player's word as the official injury report, but it's a good thing to know with Gainwell being the other hot waiver pickup this week.
Yeah.
He looks so good when given the opportunity. I'd love to believe that the Steelers say, yeah, he deserves it, and they go more of a 50-50 split, and him and Warren are startable. But I don't think there's really been a game this year where they both did a lot.
Yeah.
If Warren's been healthy, he gets almost all the work. If Gainwell's the one getting all the work, he's done awesome. So Gainwell's worth adding for sure. He's 1,000,000% worth having if you roster Jaylen Warren for certain. But you might pay up in Fab for him this week or be lucky enough to pick him up in a Dynasty League, and he'll get you 2 points next week if Jaylen Warren's playing. So
yeah,
we'll see. Another one, just like the Jacobs thing, we really got to listen for all, and the Bucky Irvin thing, we really got to listen to all the reports. Tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday are probably the biggest day. Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday are all massive, I guess, for injury reports for these running backs to see how relevant these secondary options are going to be. And yeah, not much to say out that because we're not doctors and we're not in the training rooms and we have no fucking clue how hurt any of these guys are.
Yeah. Another injury is Aaron Rodgers' wrist injury. Doesn't need surgery apparently, but still considered day-to-day. So keep an eye out on him as well. Rodgers. I mean, Mason Rudolph didn't look terrible in his replacement, which was at least good. But again, it was the Bengals defense, so it's hard to tell how good Mason Rudolph is going to be as a replacement for him. But Gainwell was the only one who benefited. Everyone else just dudded out. DK Metcalf, again, dudded out. The one thing I note, Caleb Johnson is starting to get some touches. He hit five carries this game. So he's not one to expect anything this season, but maybe next year. He's starting to get back in the good graces after that muffed kick return where he just gave up a touchdown because he just let it go, and so he's coming back a little.
Yeah, the Gainwell thing, if Rodgers is out and if Jaylen Warren's out, like Gainwell's a sneaky add because after Chicago this week, the Steelers get Buffalo, Baltimore, Miami. All three of them suck. Atrocious versus the run. Gainwell is a nice stash for the playoff push.
Yeah. He definitely should not be on waivers. Again, though, it really just hinges so much on if Warren is healthy. If Warren's healthy, he's the one that they trust, and he pretty much.
But if Rodgers is out, they might need to use both more.
They could. He should be 100. Gainwell should be on 100% of rosters, unless you're talking a 16 league or something ridiculous. Another definite pickup for Superflex and Dynasty would be Mason Rudolph. If he ends up starting any games, the word that I caught from Schefter was Rodgers does not need surgery, but he will also have to get clearance from doctors to play. Whether he thinks it's not a pain tolerance thing, he's going to have to get medically cleared to play. Okay. So we might be looking at a week or two of Mason Rudolph. And in all Superflex and 2 quarterback leagues, a quarterback starting should be rostered. And Mason Rudolph has had nice games for fantasy over the last couple of years when he's gotten opportunities. Certainly not suggesting you start him over one of your mainstay quarterbacks, but he should absolutely be rostered just on the chance that you get a couple starts out of him.
Mason Rudolph or JJ McCarthy, go.
I mean, shit. If Mason Rudolph is declared the starter, I don't know the matchups off the top of my head, but give me Mason Rudolph until
Yeah.
I see something out of McCarthy.
It's yeah, Steelers versus the Bears and Vikings Packers, I believe.
Oh my god! Versus the fucking Bears, the Bears shit defense.
Yep.
You fucking Mason Rudolph without question.
Yeah.
Rogers can't come back till he gets the COVID shot.
Possible.
Oof. Oof.
What did he say? He was like, "I've been immunized." He just
Yep.
didn't clarify for what.
Yep. Classic Rogers.
Oh shit! So here's a game that ruined your fantasy week, Zach.
Oh.
Who did you say you started? You started Herbert, QJ, and Vidal all on the same team.
Actually, that's a lie. I started Herbert, Vidal, Herbert, QJ, and Gadsden.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Not Vidal. Yeah, but
Okay.
yeah, I absolutely and Romo Dunze, who did absolutely nothing. The Chargers just decided not to show up and play at all this week against the Jaguars, and the Jaguars really. The only thing that showed up for the Jaguars was the rushing attack, which they had 192 rushing yards. Tootin and Travis Etienne had 73, 74 yards, 3 touchdowns between them. They just, LaQuinton Allen Jr., whoever he is, had 8 carries for 36 yards. Like, their rushing attack just took over the game. And the Chargers couldn't do anything. It was... I'm looking at time of possession. Jaguars possessed the ball 38 out of the 60 minutes because of their rushing attack, which is, I expected a blowout the other way. And yet the Jaguars did. Jaguars are better than people are thinking, is I think what we saw from this game. And fantasy wise, keep an eye out on Tootin, especially in dynasty leagues. Quinn Johnston is kind of fallen back to his normal self of kind of a Gabe Davis, where he's going to be boom or bust. He's not going to have you those big weeks. Even Lad McConkey's again taking over for targets. Keenan Allen's taking over for targets. And who knows who's going to be the running back for the Chargers? Vidal's injured. Hampton's coming back off injury. Granted, they have 2 weeks because they're on bye. But keep an eye out on that running back room, because that's going to be very interesting to see what happens coming back from the bye.
So my question, Zach, is the team where you started Herbert, Gadsden, QJ, and Rome. How many points did you win by this week?
I got crushed.
I'd assume so.
I'll pull it up real quick. That's because I didn't even look because I didn't want to know. It's a standard redraft with two running back, 2 wide receiver, and 1 flex. So I lost by over 45 points. I put up 80, and I'm fighting for a playoff spot. So that's seeing that, and now the Chargers on bye is not what I want to see.
Shit, man, if you put up 80 with those duds in your lineup, the other couple guys must have had some boom games. Who brought you up to 80?
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Oh, there you go. All right.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. Jahmyr Gibbs got me 17. Dowdle got me 12.5. I had Kyra Santos for the Bears, who got me 15. Ravens defense. So, but Gadsden, QJ.
Special teams was propping you.
Yeah, Adunze and Herbert got me under 20 points. Throwing Genty there, all those got me under 25 combined. It was
rough.
But yeah, I think anyone who had Chargers players is in the same boat as me. And yeah, it was a rough game.
When I give advice on the Fantasyholics page, I say never, ever trust a West Coast team heading east for a 1:00 game. And I thought, you know what? I'm gonna pivot because the Jaguars look like shit. They allowed 25 points to Davis Mills in the 4th quarter. Surely Justin Herbert is better than Davis Mills. I'm going to take the Jaguars. No, don't play West Coast players traveling east at a 1:00 game. Period. End of discussion. That sucked. That sucked. Sucked. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I mean, Justin Herbert is running for his life every single snap. He has 100. I love my stat page tonight. 189 pressures. That's the most in the league. Third most is Cam Ward at 146. Justin Herbert runs for his life every single snap. Every single snap.
I don't think I have 189 anythings.
189 teams?
That's not even that. That's
You get
a
me.
lot. It's a lot of things.
This game sucked. And out of all this, Parker Washington had 2 catches for 20 yards.
So Jacoby Myers, not that it was anything crazy good, but he had like 11 fantasy points. Just getting there. So he's a dude I have some hope for to be relevant the rest of the season. Maybe they keep working him in. Maybe they say, hey, Brian Thomas, get your body and mind right and rest up another week or two. But I think even with BTJ coming back, Myers could end up being the one there, going forward. Yeah. Not that it's massive scoring, exciting role, but somebody's got to catch some passes, and maybe it's Myers.
Good point.
And if you're in an extremely deep league, in the league that you just added Isaiah Hodgins, get LaQuint Allen. There was a lot of rumblings that he was going to pass Tootin for the Jaguars really like him. I guess Allen's okay. If you're in like a 32 team league with deep benches, get Allen. He's decent. He's worth a $0 waiver add.
Yeah. On to a big NFC West matchup here.
Yeah.
See, lose to the Rams 21-19. Sam Darnold has an absolute dog shit game. Killed you if you had him in your super flex or your starting quarterback spot. JSN is so good that it didn't matter. He still had a huge game, even with Darnold sucking. Ken Walker finally got into the end zone. You probably had him on your bench.
Yeah.
So there's AJ Barner, very good game. 7 for 70 or something along 7 for 90. I forget.
10 of 11 for 70. 11
10
targets, 10 receptions.
Yeah, great for any type of PPR, especially if you got a tight end premium. That's great. He's an ad. He made the waiver column this week. Definitely a dynasty ad. If you see him on any dynasty waivers, definitely grab AJ Barner. Devontae Adams. I can't take credit for this, but the footballers have been calling him the goal line wide receiver because he had 1 catch for 1 yard, and it happened to be a touchdown, and was also his 1,000th catch of his career that happened to be a touchdown.
Wow.
Adams is great. He had plenty of targets, just wasn't reeling him in, but Adams has been awesome all year. You're not worried about the 1 catch game.
No.
Puka is fucking awesome. Stafford, we're going over the points per game and 6-point passing touchdown leagues. Matt Stafford is the goddamn quarterback 3 on the season. 3. He was getting drafted in Superflex startups as the dead ass last. It was like him and Geno Smith were the last 2 quarterbacks with jobs getting drafted in startups, and here we are, quarterback 3.
Well, remember he needed his back hurt so bad. He needed an epidural. He could barely move. He could barely walk. I've had that epidural. I know what he's going through. I'm like, fuck that. I don't want, like, you just sleep wrong, you move wrong, and you just like, ugh. He found the fountain of youth. Him and another player we'll get to in the next game, just the health is just
And then the only thing I didn't really touch on there was just the Rams running game. Kyron, rock solid as usual. Corum is definitely getting mixed in and getting more touches, but I only really view that as it's still Kyron's. It's the Kyron show. he's always going to be deferred to as the goal line guy and the guy for important downs. And I have no qualms or worries starting Kyron going forward. And if he did go down, that's the only time I'd ever really be worried, or not worried, but the only time I'd really be excited about having Corum or starting him. So if you could buy low on Kyron, if you see anybody that's worried that he's not getting 100% of the snaps or they think Corum's slowly taking over, I'm not in that camp. I'm still give me Kyron until further notice. I have him on a few different contending teams, and I'm very, very happy and content with it.
Yeah, I've been on the Kyron bandwagon since the beginning of this season. A lot of people were fading him. Very happy to see that. You touched on the one thing that I was going to bring up for fantasy purposes is AJ Barner's. If you didn't have him officially as a streaming tight end previously, he is a streaming tight end now for sure, especially of a tight end premium. He has put up some very good games so far, very consistently. As you mentioned, there's no way he should be on waivers in any dynasty league. But if you need a tight end moving forward for this week or anything, he's a great one to look at. But yeah, he's even if you can buy him low in a dynasty league before he really goes off. Although this was a great game. I mean, it's crazy to see JSN and Barner to have such good games with Sam Darnold throwing 4 interceptions and no touchdowns. Like that's a testament to what they can do even with Darnold doing that. So yeah, look at keeping out on Barner.
Chig Okonkwo this week versus the Rams. Yes. Yeah. $0 waiver bid.
I just double checked in ESPN redraft. Barner is only 9% rostered going into waiver night. So if you're on the struggle bus with tight end and streaming like a lot of teams are, you could do a lot worse than AJ Barner probably, and he's available in 91% of ESPN redraft leagues.
Well, I got Gadsden going on bye, so he's one I'm gonna look at for this next week.
Oh, he was on bye this week, right?
Yeah, he's got a double bye. Double bye for
another divisional game. 49ers versus Cardinals. 49ers blew them out 41-22. Purdy came back, threw 3 touchdowns. Christian McCaffrey looking as good as ever with getting 3 touchdowns himself, 1 receiving, 2 rushing. George Kittle, best game of the year, I think. 6 receptions for 67 targets and 2 touchdowns.
6.
Pearsall didn't do anything on his return. He had 1 reception for 0 yards, but it's his first game back. Just don't worry about him. I mean, especially in Dynasty, just wait on him. Jacoby Brissett, it's a miracle what can happen when your quarterback can actually see his receivers.
It's a short joke.
Brissett's looking amazing for anyone who was able to pick him up, especially in Superflex leagues. Michael Wilson, holy Michael Wilson game, 185 yards, 15 receptions, gave you PPR over 30 points this week. Not better than Marvin Harrison Jr. It's situational as to what happened. You know, they got behind. He was the only one that really got targets outside of McBride. They had threw it 57 times. Don't go out trying to trade Marvin Harrison Jr. for Michael Wilson. It's a situational thing that happened, but still great to see that if you need a streaming option while Marvin Harrison Jr. is out probably for another week or 2. He had appendicitis or had his appendix removed. I had my appendix removed when my first daughter was 1 month old, and I couldn't move or hold her for a week, and she was less than 10 pounds. So like, I can't imagine him coming back to play in the next week, never less 2 weeks from now. But granted, his recovery process probably is a little more TLC with all the stuff he can get from the Cardinals facility and stuff than what I had. But yeah, I'd expect him out another 2-3 weeks. So keep an eye out on Michael Wilson potentially for the next few weeks.
Yeah, Cardinals kind of got screwed in this game. Like, I want Bam Knight had like a 30 to 40-yard touchdown run called back for a holding penalty. Elijah Higgins dropped the ball like at the goal line. There's 2 touchdowns, right? This game was a lot closer than it seems. And like Brissett had 20 completions for 200 yards starting the fourth, and they just were airing it out. Like, I guess they thought it was close enough to the record and just like, let's just throw the rest of the game. They were down, obviously, multiple scores, throwing. Whereas other teams just ease off. No, they were going for it. Michael Wilson is so underutilized, and it probably looks bad when you spend the first overall pick on Kyler Murray and then Jacoby Brissett comes in and plays pretty damn good ball. If the coaching staff could get Harrison, Wilson, Trey McBride, Bam Knight all on the same page, it's a pretty damn good offense. Like, maybe they should just like ask Madden every now and then. If you don't know play to call, ask Madden. Just like this, it's like it's a better offense than they're putting on the field, and this game was closer than 41-22 indicates. I don't think Murray comes back at all this year.
Here's a fun stat for you, with how fucking good Trey McBride has been.
He's really fucking good.
Looking at especially with Brissett coming in, so looking at a league with it's full PPR and it's only a 0.5 half point tight end premium, which we went over plenty in the offseason. Even with bigger premiums, tight end generally doesn't matter that much. But in a half point tight end premium league, after this past week, Trey McBride is not only the tight end 1 per game, he would be the wide receiver 1 per game. In half point premium, he's averaging exactly 22 per game, and Jackson Smith-Njigba is 21.8 per game. That's how fucking incredible Trey McBride has been. And if you're in any bigger tight end premium leagues with 0.75, 1 point per tight end catch, 2 points per tight end catch, he's obviously astronomical and up among the highest scorers in all of fantasy. So yeah, Trey McBride, fucking A, man, he is smashing.
Yep.
More fun with stats. Michael Wilson is tied for 10th in the NFL in routes run. You'd probably have no clue that he was 10th in routes run. They don't throw to him much at all. He's just, my favorite tagline, he's just getting cardio, but he's a talented player, just not getting targeted enough. Jacoby Brissett found him a lot. Maybe they should target him a little bit more.
Just maybe.
Maybe. I don't know. What do I know? I'm just talking on a fantasy football show at 11:45 on a weeknight.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're setting him out there 342 times, maybe throw to Wilson a little bit more.
Yeah.
Certainly held his hand up this week and said, hey, I can do this.
Oh, yeah.
Man, so another divisional matchup. We got the Ravens versus the Browns. Lamar Jackson didn't even spit on it this week. He just gave it to you raw and rough. Rough game. Nobody benched him. If you have Lamar Jackson in any scenario or format, you started him. And I got super lucky with having guys like Trey McBride and Tet on my team with Lamar that they carried me to victory despite Lamar. But saying all that, you're not fucking benching Lamar, so we don't need to talk about is he washed or is he not good or are we starting someone over Lamar? No, you're starting Lamar every week unless he's off the field.
Yep.
So Derrick Henry had Derrick Henry had a nice game, got you over 100, looked good. Zay Flowers, meh. Guy that's tough to bench, but you can't really expect big games from him. One heartbreaker to me when I was again stuck at work. I've got the Red Zone channel on my iPad that I can just glance at once in a while. I glance over and see Mark Andrews running down the field for a big touchdown, and I'm like, "Oh, thank God, Lamar got me a touchdown." And the announcer's like, "Wow, you don't see that too often, a rushing touchdown from a tight end." I said, "Motherfucker." God, continuing my 4-point week from Lamar, but
Yeah.
oh man, yeah, just a weird one. You know,
I
other
watched every game on Tuesday morning, and I was watching this game, and the Browns were up late, and then it was tied, and I'm sitting there thinking, how the fuck did the Browns lose this game? A Mark Andrews rushing touchdown? Of course, the Browns. Of course,
a fake out tush push.
Yeah,
it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
it was.
It worked out well. It won them the game, basically.
We saw our first glimpse of Shedeur Sanders in an NFL game that wasn't preseason.
Hopefully it's all right.
Now, he hasn't run with the first team yet. He's expected – I would say he's expected to start this next week. I'd be surprised if Dylan Gabriel could come back from a concussion to start this next week. So very interested to see how Sanders does Sunday. But I watched him. He didn't look great. Granted, again, he hasn't run with the ones, but I looked. His first sack, you see 7 guys on the line of scrimmage. It's 3rd and 8, obvious passing down. He literally looks to his left and watches the cornerback run straight at him and sack him. The second it gets snapped, he looks to his left and watches the quarterback run straight at him and sack him when Njoku was wide open in the middle. If he just looked his eyes 5 degrees to the right, like
Njoku would have dropped that.
But at least he could have gotten the ball out. But to me, he just froze. His interception, there wasn't a receiver within 5 yards of it. Now, his second sack, I don't blame on him. His check down wide receiver or his check down running back fell to the ground literally. So you can see him literally looking up to try and dump it off, and his guy's just sitting there on the ground. But even his intentional grounding, you see 4 guys blitzing from the top side, and he tries to roll out to the top side into 4 defenders instead of the wide side of the field where only 1 defender's on. Like, I worry about his judgment calls with seeing these, that he could freeze in the moment. Granted, he came in the middle of a game, not having to run with the ones, but you'd hope with how he flashed some in the preseason, with him playing bigger games in college, that he would have done a little more than what he did. But I mean, he was 4 for 16 for 47 yards and an interception. It wasn't promising, but let's see how he does with a full week of practice under his belt at the Raiders. That there's hope still for him. Granted, I don't think he's going to do too well, but you know, I'm seeing some people already saying Sanders looked amazing. He's won the starting job the rest of the year. I'm like, did we watch the same game?
Amazing.
Like what? Like, so I'm in neither camp, but leaning towards that did not look good.
Mel Kiper loved what he saw.
Mel Kiper was.
All these tweets are just burner Mel Kiper accounts.
Yeah, they got to be.
It's got to be the play calling. It has to be the offensive staff. The Browns has to go. Joe Flacco looked like crap. Joe Flacco's traded to the Bengals. He's a MVP, throwing for more yards he's ever thrown. Dylan Gabriel isn't really that bad. He looks horrible in Cleveland. Shedeur Sanders comes in a game that they're winning, in a game that they could ice the game with a touchdown. I had to look up who he threw to. He threw to Gage Larvadian in the end zone, who had the ball and it like slipped through his fingers. Why the hell are you throwing to Gage Larvadian in the? Was Judy covered? Was Njoku covered? Was Judkins? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, Oh, the Browns are going to Brown.
Yeah.
Browns are going to Brown.
I'm giggling because this game was in the later window, and I got home from work at about 6:30 on Sunday. So I flipped Red Zone at home, and I finally got to pay attention to these like final three late window games. And I remember seeing that pass and looking at the name on the back of that jersey and going, "I'm in 60 dynasty leagues. I obsess over this shit. Who the fuck is Larvadian?"
Yep.
I was like, is that like a special teamer in like an eligible receiver? Like, who the fuck
is that like his
that?
boy? Is that his boy from his hometown that he like snuck in and gave a jersey to? It was like, it's a fun joke. I'm gonna throw you a pass in the end zone in crunch time here.
I had no clue. I had to pull it up right now. He's a rookie from South Carolina, and he dropped the game-sealing touchdown.
Yep. Good for Gabe Larvadian or whatever his name is.
Don't add him.
Yeah.
Add Isaiah Hodgins, add LaQuinn Allen. Don't add the Browns guy.
Yeah.
Going to another divisional game, Broncos Chiefs. Broncos skidded out with the win. And for me, fantasy aside for a second, for me, the Chiefs don't look good. I'm going to rack off a couple stats from the game. And I think what's happening is the Chiefs are one-dimensional. The Chiefs ran the ball only 22% of the time this game. So they threw it 78% of the time. They have no rushing attack. So teams are just going to play the pass. You have a washed-up Travis Kelce. You have Rice, who looks good, but Worthy has some injury problems. You have Tycon
Thornton.
Thornton, who can catch a deep ball every so often. But the Chiefs, if you look at it, there's 78% pass. Both teams had 10 penalties, which the Chiefs having 10 penalties is crazy. But the Chiefs had 10 penalties for 69 yards. The Broncos had 10 penalties for 147 yards. And the Chiefs still lost this game after having 78 more penalty yards go in their favor. Like, you have Mahomes passing it 45 times. He only completed 29 of those. I struggle for the sake of seeing the Chiefs really, like, they'll probably make the playoffs, let's be honest. But to win the division, I don't think they're going to win it this year. The Broncos are 9-2. The Chiefs would have to go on a hell of a run to overtake that. But even fantasy-wise, Rice and Mahomes are the only ones you want to start on the Chiefs. Kelce, you kind of have to. He had a good game this game, but he still has had some duds too. So it was a tough game to watch, as my in-laws are Bears and Chiefs fan. It was tough for them.
Zach, how many penalty yards did you say the Chiefs had?
Chiefs had 69.
Giggity.
Set myself up for that. Time of possession was even too. 30 minutes each. Crazy to think.
Big letdown for RJ Harvey getting to be the one in this game. I had lowered expectations. The Chiefs are a tough matchup for running backs. They just seem to know how to shut down running backs generally. But you'd hope with the amount of volume and potential, it would have been a little bit better than this. I do believe with Dobbins being officially shelved for the season now, or at least for the regular season, the Broncos go on bye. They have some nicer matchups coming back. I think Harvey's a solid buy low, at least in redraft. Pretty sure most people that have him in Dynasty don't want to let him go, rebuilding or contender. But if you can get your hands on Harvey during the off week here, coming off of a bad game, I think he could, I hate to say league winner, but he could potentially be like a league winning piece for the playoff push and in the playoffs for fantasy, because it's going to be him, Jaleel McLaughlin, who a usable running back, but Sean Payton is smart enough to see that Harvey is the better of the backs, and I just think this was more a bad matchup against a pretty damn good defense, more so than RJ Harvey not being good at football. And like most rookies, he should continue to just get more comfortable and get better. And if he's getting all the work and he's getting all of the first team reps and their game planning to get him involved, I'm not discouraged by this game from Harvey.
Yeah, that's a good point.
He's got some good, tasty matchups coming, but week 17, title week,
Back
at Arrowhead.
Yep.
At Arrowhead. Hopefully a foot of snow is on the ground.
Yeah.
And hey,
he'll help catch you there.
If he can help get you to that championship game and get you to the final two of your league, you've already made, double your buy-in back and you have a shot at winning the title. Hopefully you've roster constructed correctly and you have a second running back that you can just bench Harvey and slide somebody that's playing in a dome that week or whatever the case.
Yep.
So yeah, man, RJ Harvey stock up to me even with the shitty game and going into his bye.
Agreed.
All right, man. So let me talk about my birds here. Mother Nature and the wind.
Yeah.
That's what won the Eagles this game. You didn't get. I mean, they force fed AJ Brown just to, I don't know, get him to stop talking, whatever. But he still had a very mid game. At least in full PPR, it was okay because he ended up with 7-8 catches or whatever it was for 40 something yards. But my boy Slim, who's been really, really hot, he got you 1 catch for 8 yards. I think the weather was the biggest story of this game. It wasn't snowing or raining, but the wind was coming in sideways at like 40 miles an hour. The one, you could just see it, a couple of the kicks, the PATs and field goal attempts, the ball was just shooting off into the stands from 2 kickers that are perfectly capable. So Jared Goff, Amon-Ra had 2 catches on 12 targets, I think was the exact stat line.
Yep. 2 for 12, 2 of 12 for 42.
Right. So in a game that Amon-Ra usually has 12 targets, he probably catches 9 or 10 of them every time. Him and Goff have as good of a vibe as any quarterback pass catcher in the league. You just don't see that shit. So I kind of want to throw almost everything out the window with this game, stat-wise.
100%.
Literally everything. We know Jahmyr Gibbs is good. He ended up getting it done in the pass game. One of the only things I think really is standout to me is how fucking good the Eagles' defensive front has become with the addition of Jalen Phillips, who just looks like, hey, remember me? I was a first-round draft pick. I'm really good at playing defensive line, and I'm really happy to be out of that shit show in Miami and at a winning organization with a chance at a Super Bowl. You throw him in there with Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis and all-world middle linebacker Zach Bond and a great secondary. This Eagles defense is fucking legit, and I don't like starting fantasy players against them going forward. That's one of my only takeaways. I think the wind and shit was so nutty in this game that I don't even really want to take anything away offensively from either side.
Yeah. Yeah,
we're late
that
enough
was a
in the
typical
season,
weather game.
We're late enough in the season, like you've got what you've got, and the cement has settled. The defenses that are legit are legit. Like I'm like just benching anybody versus the Eagles, the Rams. It's tough sledding. It's not pretty. I'm just bumping everybody down. Like it'll be Eagles Rams NFC title game. Both of those defenses look on against. They played the Seahawks and the Lions and made them look like the Raiders. Like they made those awesome offenses look like crap. And I'm like, oh no. Yikes.
Yeah, I will say if this game was not necessarily in Detroit, but if this game was played indoors and the wind wasn't a factor, it would have been a different outcome. Now, maybe the Eagles still win, but both sides would have had a notably better time offensively.
For sure.
But again, my only actual takeaway is that the Eagles D is fucking scary, and beware starting players against them. And also one last little bit, and I have to shout out Dan Schneier from CBS, who really stressed this the other day. I think it was yesterday on their pod. We have to really pay more attention to these shit weather games in the Northeast, games up in Chicago, games in Bay. This time of year, it doesn't matter if these are stud players or, oh yeah, they're the wide receiver 1 or 2 on the season. If you're playing in 40-mile-an-hour typhoon winds with sideways rain and sub-zero temperatures, you're probably going to have a lot of games like Green Bay and Philly 2 weeks ago, or Green Bay and Detroit this week, where, okay, yeah, Amon-Ra is a fucking stud, but guess what? He sunk you this week. So if you could do the research and target players playing in domes and playing in warm weather and games in Miami and shit like that, that really fucking matters in the fantasy playoffs. So don't put all of your eggs into players playing a bunch of outdoor shit weather games this time of year.
Yeah.
It sucks to have to move on from stud players, but it might be the right move.
Our last matchup, last night's game. Couple interesting things to note of this. Gentry, 6 carries, 7 yards. Granted, the Cowboys went ahead 28 points in the first half. Really, game script went away from Gentry in the second half. I mean, granted, you'd hope that he would have gotten more early on, but really the game script just went away from him, and that's quite unfortunate against a player versus the Cowboys defense. When you're looking at the Cowboy offense, Pickens and Prescott seem to have a connection. They're really getting into rhythm together, and something seems to be up with Lamb. I have 2 interesting stats for you for Lamb this year. Now, to get away these one-off games and things like that, I reduced it to wide receivers who have played minimum 7 games this year and have 50 or more targets. Out of all those wide receivers, Lamb has the 4th highest drop percentage at 13%. He also then has the 3rd lowest route rate, meaning for plays he's on the field, he's running the 3rd lowest routes out of 44 wide receivers at under 92%, only ahead of Deebo Samuel and Clear Shakir, meaning they're not having him run routes. They're having him run decoys or screens for other people and helping block or whatnot. But something's going on with CeeDee Lamb. I mean, even if you look at it, Lamb and Pickens were benched the first series for the Cowboys last night. For some reason, they were just not in the game for the first 3 plays. They went 3 and out, and they were in the second, but the camera showed both of them standing side by side, just on the sideline. They were benched to start. Something's going on with Lamb. I don't know if he's clashing with Prescott or the coaches or what, but Lamb, the numbers he's putting up are not what we'd hope for Lamb, and Pickens is popping off. I'm not saying Pickens is the alpha there here on out, but it's looking to me similar to Philly with AJ Brown and the Slim Reaper, where it's starting to get to the point where is the wide receiver 2 starting to take over, and it's just interesting to think about. I mean, Lamb still had a good game of 5 catches for 66 yards and a touchdown, but Pickens had 9 catches for 144 yards and a touchdown. It's something to keep an eye out on that receiving core.
Pickens was getting crazy yak, like spinning off dudes, dragging dudes, jumping over people. He looked possessed. It was really, and fuck the Cowboys. And I'm not even a big Pickens fan just in general, but he looked incredible because that's a game I got to watch pretty much the entirety of since it was a spotlight game. And yeah, man, Pickens looked fucking awesome. And he's looked great all year with Dak. Dak's sitting at quarterback 6 on the year in points per game, by the way. after that game. So yeah, I mean it's you can see it. Pickens has been better than Lamb, so we'll see what happens going forward. But as of now, you're playing both of them happily every week, and quiet. Another quieter game for Javonte, but he's still getting all the work and involved. And just if a couple of those passes that turn into touchdowns get stuffed at the 2 or something like that, we could easily be looking at Javonte having 2 touchdowns last night, and the receivers just having big yardage output. So I'm not worried about Javonte at all, unless he got hurt or something. He's a guy that you're just locked in starting every week.
He has no competition for touches.
Right, exactly.
No.
So, yeah, depending on where somebody gets tackled towards the goal line, he could easily have a 2 or even 3 touchdown game next week or in the fantasy playoffs, and he's going to get all the rushing work. So, no worry for Javonte.
Thank God Pickens got moved, because Aaron Rodgers' noodle arm could only hold back so many wide receivers. Every stat you have for Pickens is just he's head and shoulders above everybody.
Yep.
He's the alpha. He's the guy in Dallas, and it's crazy. That's crazy to think that CeeDee Lamb would be unseated. Even crazier is thinking of paying Chip Kelly millions of dollars to do whatever the hell he's doing in Las Vegas. I could probably call better plays.
Yeah.
And then we have reached the segment of the show where I have to take a leak, but also the Ashton Genty check-in after a dud game, not dud, but whatever type of game you want to call it. Genty is now residing at the running back 18 per game with 14.1 fantasy points per game in PPR scoring. Not that you're mad about 14 points or having running back 18 on your team, but just remember, you drafted him in the first round.
Yep.
And
yeah,
there's
the broadcast made sure to mention that
running backs that you should have drafted ahead of him when it comes to points per game.
Crazy to think.
All right, you guys bring up the preview. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Let's look at some previews. We got 4 teams on bye this week. Broncos, Chargers, Dolphins, and Commanders on bye. We've got some very interesting games looking forward. Granted, not as many. We still have some divisional games, but last week we had a ton of divisional games. This week we only have, I'm looking at it, 2. Vikings at Packers is always a great game to watch. That'll be great to see. Another big rivalry with Eagles at Cowboys. That should be a flipped game as opposed to this last week for the Eagles, where the weather was a problem. They didn't score that high. Eagles players should be scoring boatloads of points versus Cowboys defense. Keep an eye out on that. I guess we have another divisional game, Falcons for Saints. Although with Penix injury and Lundgren potentially injured and the Saints not looking great, that's not going to be too great of a game. I mean, looking at it, I wouldn't say it's a rivalry, but it's going to be very interesting to see. Steelers at Bears, especially if Rodgers plays. That is going to be a very interesting one just because of how much Bears fans absolutely hate Aaron Rodgers.
I hate Aaron Rodgers.
I couldn't tell you if Bears fan would rather see Aaron Rodgers injured and out for the year or trying to see the Bears face Rodgers to try and kill him in the game versus Steelers. So that's going to be an interesting matchup. Unfortunately, I think the Texans don't stand much of a chance against the Bills this Thursday night. The Texans have looked decent, but take it away.
Whooped the Bills' ass a couple weeks ago. They whooped their ass. They got Davis Mills, man. Davis Mills.
Bills' defense has been progressing the wrong way. They've been getting worse and worse, and the Texans' offense with Mills is doing something, and it is in Houston. So I'm certainly not putting money on the Houston Texans to win the game by any means, but this could be a closer game. Hopefully, for our purposes, it's an offensive shootout, which we all love.
Yep.
Start Woody Marks. 100%.
Yep. Fire up Woody Marks. Just make sure you put him in your running back 1 or 2 spot and not the flex spot because it's Thursday.
Now, Patrick, I have to ask: Colts versus Chiefs. Colts at Chiefs.
In Arrowhead. I think the Colts win by at least 10. It's a statement game. Jonathan Taylor is impossible to stop. Danny Dimes is incredible. The Chiefs they're 5-5. They're not for. I mean, I know you're looking for harder hitting advice. They're not good. The Chiefs just aren't who they used to be. They're like a Bud Light. They're fine, but they're not good.
Yeah. I mean, the Colts improved their pass defense, and the Chiefs can only pass.
Sauce Gardner fell flat on his face, and Drake London just gave him like a flinch, like one of these, and he sauced out. So I hope he
can recover, but it's a good matchup for the Colts, but it'll be an interesting game.
In Arrowhead's tough, but I think Indy wins like 27-17, something like that.
And then Brian, how many points are your Eagles putting up against Cowboys?
I hate to say that the Cowboys defense looks better because they just played the Raiders.
They did make 2 defensive trades at the deadline too.
I know, and Quentin Williams is a very legit player. I've always thought that, and he played well. But again, it was against the Raiders. It was at home. I certainly picked the Eagles to win this game, but being divisional, being that they did add some strength on defense, they did get Overshown back, who's a very good player. Their defense is certainly going to be better, but fuck them. Eagles are winning. I think it'll be a low-scoring game. I think that's just the nature of the way the Eagles want to play and win games and with their current makeup is lean on that defense, lean on rushing and short passing. So could be another disappointing game fantasy-wise for both sides of the ball. I would take the under in this. Without even knowing what the under is, give me the under in this game.
Fair enough.
Speaking of the under, whoever loses Browns Raiders is delegated to the XFL. That game will be scoreless going into overtime. It might be a scoreless tie.
Yeah, seriously. That'd be fun to see. What is the under on that fucking game? Oh my God.
Under.
You don't even know where you can check that. ESPN will probably tell you that shit has got to be.
I'll pull that up.
31. Shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be low for sure.
Got some nice
37.5.
Christ, I'll still take the under.
Yeah.
Some nice low-key revenge games. Got Baker against the Rams, even though he was only there for like a month. And Christian McCaffrey against the Panthers. Come on, man.
Oh,
yeah. Good point.
Monster McCaffrey game.
Oh, I'd expect that, yeah.
If you weren't starting McCaffrey, well, that's why you're still watching us start Christian McCaffrey.
True. Any other matchups keeping an eye out on?
Let's see. Hopefully we get a bounce back for Lamar. The Jets now traded away their 2 best pieces on defense. They did play well defensively, I thought, on the Thursday night game against the Patriots. I mean, hard to say, I guess, with Travion getting all those points, but they didn't look as shit as I thought they would, but hopefully the Ravens can expose them and Lamar Jackson can for my greedy purposes, get me like a 30-point fantasy game because I have him not just in my main league, but in lots of dynasty leagues. And I need more than 4 points from Lamar going forward.
Yeah.
Lions should bounce back quite well versus this Giants defense.
You'd hope so.
I think Amon Ra's probably a little salty about only catching 2 of 12 targets, and Jared Goff doesn't want to, keep looking like that in the eyes of the country. So I'm pretty sure they're going to take out their frustrations on the New York Football Giants. I believe that game is in the comfy confines of their dome in Detroit. So this should be a fucking ass kicking. Start your Lions.
Yes. Yep. Awesome.
All right, boys. All right, well, anything? Nah, we got 4 teams on bye. I noticed that as I was filling out and moving my rosters around, doing my waiver claims that, yeah, there's some firepower out this week. So
Yep.
we're almost done with them. Almost done with them. And get your waiver claims in. Thanks for tuning in. Love having you guys. See you next Tuesday.
Enjoy. Have a good night.
Have a good one.